The San Andreas fault is locked and loaded. A White House official admits they fudged the information on the Iran nuclear deal, and former Facebook workers admit to censoring its news feed. Welcome to SkyWatch TV for Wednesday, May 11th, 2016. I'm Derek Gilbert. First up, the U.S. Navy sails another warship through waters claimed by China. The USS William P. Lawrence traveled within 12 miles of Chinese-occupied Fiery Cross Reef, an artificial island in the South China Sea on which the Chinese military has put a 10,000-foot runway. A spokesman for China's foreign ministry said the U.S. ship illegally entered Chinese waters and the action threatened Chinese security and sovereignty. China and its neighbors have competing and overlapping claims in the South China Sea. Taiwan, Malaysia, the Sultanate of Brunei, Vietnam, and the Philippines all laying claim to parts of those waters through which about $5 trillion worth of trade sails every year. Well, you may have suspected it, and now it's apparently confirmed. Facebook routinely suppresses stories of interest to conservatives from the site's trending news section. A former journalist who worked on the project told the tech website Gizmodo that workers prevented stories of interest to conservatives from appearing in that box, even though they were trending with Facebook users. Gizmodo reports that other former news curators told them that they were instructed to artificially inject selected stories into the news feed, even if they weren't very popular with Facebook users. In other words, Facebook's newsroom operates like every other newsroom on planet Earth. It's biased. Well, Senator John Thune, Republican from South Dakota, wants the Senate to investigate. He sent a letter to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg asking for specifics on how Facebook staffs the department that curates the news and how it plans to address these charges of bias. Thune released a statement saying that any attempt by a neutral and inclusive social media platform to censor or manipulate political discussion is an abuse of trust and inconsistent with the values of an open internet. He's right about that, but getting the government involved would be worse. We don't want government officials or bureaucrats deciding for us what neutral and inclusive means. Now, if you know your history, many of the local newspapers around America were founded back in the 19th, some the 18th century, with names like The Democrat or The Republican. It's because they were created to present and promote a particular political view, not just through its editorials, but through the slant on the news coverage. In Indiana, we lived in a town called Shelbyville. The local paper is the Shelbyville News. It was renamed in 1947 when the Shelbyville Democrat merged with the Shelbyville Republican. News has always been biased. It will always be biased. Even here, at least I hope you know where my bias comes from. So whenever you hear, read, or see news, just understand it is being filtered through somebody's brain, and that somebody has a certain worldview that affects his decision on which stories to report and how to report on them. And please, Senator Thune, find something better to do. Like maybe getting to the bottom of the Skull and Bones files from former President George W. Bush, some of which might actually be made public according to the National Archives. They say more than 1,000 pages worth of letters, memos, draft speeches, other materials related to the secret society he joined when he was at Yale University are set to be released in July, unless the National Archives steps in or Mr. Bush or President Obama block the release. I'm betting on that. A Democratic congressman, criticizing the White House for trying to strong-arm a former senator, Democratic senator, who wants to declassify 28 pages from the official 9/11 report issued by Congress. California Democrat Representative Brad Sherman said in an interview that in 2011, the FBI detained former Senator Bob Graham, Democrat from Florida, at an airport, escorted him with an armed guard into a room, and then tried to persuade him to take a different view of about releasing those 28 pages that have remained classified. Senator Graham chaired the official 9/11 inquiry by Congress, and he claims that the FBI is covering up Saudi links to the 9/11 attack. Well, it shouldn't be any surprise to us, but it still seems to, for some reason, that much of what the government tells us just ain't necessarily so. Of course, it's for our own good. In a profile piece that was published by the New York Times last week, a White House executive, White House staff member, Deputy National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes admitted that the White House fudged information on the Iran nuclear deal to sell it to the American public. And for example, President Obama waited to announce the deal until last July, and he described it as the result of 2 years' worth of negotiations with the more moderate regime of Hassan Rouhani, who succeeded Mahmoud Ahmadinejad as the president of Iran. However, the truth is that the actual deal, the framework of the deal, was agreed to in 2013, several months before Mr. Rouhani took office. But the idea that there was a new, more moderate regime in Iran that we could do business with was politically useful to the president, and so that was the story they ran with. Oh, and by the way, the Iranian government said Monday that their country now has a missile that can reach Israel. You remember back in March, they test-fired a couple of missiles that were decorated with the phrase, written in Hebrew, "Israel must be wiped off the map." And speaking of half-truths and lies, Obamacare. We're getting a glimpse at the sticker shock we'll be facing come November. Most of the insurance exchanges for the Affordable Care Act won't release their new premium structures until November 1st, when they open for the 2017 registration period. Now, that's a week before we go to the polls to elect a new president. So no doubt this will provide some great campaign material in the last week before the election for Mr. Trump. But in Oregon and Virginia, they're making the insurers' premium proposals public a little early, and they're ugly. In Virginia, Anthem and Blue Cross Blue Shield are proposing increases of 16 and 25% to their premiums, respectively. And in Oregon, it's worse. Providence Health Plan wants an average increase of 29.6%. Moda Health Plan asking for an increase of 32.3%, and this is after a 25% increase last year. Kaiser asking for a 14.5% increase in Oregon, and that's the second lowest premium increase proposal in that state. In Jerusalem, 2 elderly women stabbed in a suspected terror attack Tuesday morning. The women, both in their 80s, were hospitalized in moderate condition. And in Germany, a man shouting Allahu Akbar stabbed 4 people, 1 dead. This in the German city of Grafing Tuesday morning. Major media reporting on this story as I came to work today described the man as German. Now, if he's shouting Allahu Akbar while he is taking a knife to people, in what sense is this person German? Does one become German simply by virtue of setting foot on German soil? Is there something magical in the dirt that turns one into a German or an Englishman or an American just because you cross the border? Or is there something more to it than that? Like adopting or assimilating the dominant culture's values that makes you a member of that society? Just asking. I think this is an important question that we're going to have to face very soon. Now, it does seem, as we hear the news each day, that the world is topsy-turvy, and it actually is. A spokesman for the U.S. Geological Survey reports that there have been more than 130 small earthquakes underneath Mount St. Helens in Washington state in the last 2 weeks. Now, the volcano, to place it in your mind, is about 95 miles south of Seattle, about 55 miles northeast of Portland, Oregon. These quakes have been small, most of them 0.5 magnitude or less, but it's not the size that has experts worried, it's the frequency. They're becoming more and more regular, more and more often, which the USGS believes means the magma inside the volcano is repressurizing. Now, if you're old enough to remember, you'll recall May 18th, 1980, that's when Mount St. Helens basically exploded. It blew literally 1,000 foot off the top of the mountain, killed 57 people. It is probably the most closely watched volcano, at least in the Western Hemisphere, maybe the world. And experts are watching the San Andreas Fault very closely as well. The last big quake along the San Andreas Fault was in 1857. It was estimated at a magnitude 7.9. It's been quiet since then. And according to an expert, Thomas Jordan, director of the Southern California Earthquake Center, it's been too quiet. Last week at a presentation, Jordan said the springs of the San Andreas system have been wound very, very tight, and the southern part of the fault line, east of San Diego, looks like it's locked, loaded, and ready to go. His words. A report by the USGS in 2008 said a magnitude 7.8 quake beginning in the southern part of the San Andreas Fault would cause more than 1,800 deaths, 50,000 injuries, and more than $200 billion worth of damage, plus some very long-lasting consequences like, just imagine, if you can, the city of Los Angeles without sewers for 6 months. This week on SkyWatch TV, it's the second part of a 5-part series related to the upcoming book, The Final Roman Emperor, the Islamic Antichrist, and the Vatican's Last Crusade. Steve Quayle talking about his new documentary film, True Legends, The Unholy See. What does the Vatican know, or what does it think it knows, and why is it trying to keep it from the public? You'll see that program this afternoon on the Cornerstone Network, 2:30 p.m. Central Time, that is coast to coast on Cornerstone, and then again Saturday on the Victory Television Network at 3:30 p.m. Central Time, and coast to coast on the Christian Television Network at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. The program is also available now on the SkyWatch TV channel on Roku, where you can also see our other programs, including some web-only exclusives. We just posted a couple of new web-only interviews, one with Avi Lipkin about the conflict between ISIS and Iran and what that means for Israel. And a second interview with Gary Haven, the director and producer, not the director, but the producer and writer of the new film Amerigeddon, which opens this Friday, May 13th, about the potential impact of an EMP, electromagnetic pulse weapon, against the United States. You can also see Into the Multiverse with Josh Peck, Sci Friday with my best friend and wife, Sharon Gilbert, and of course, these daily news update, the SkyWatch TV channel on Roku, available on demand at your convenience, and instructions on how to add it to your Roku account, an explanation of what Roku is if you don't have a Roku box. It costs you $50. You got an internet connection or you wouldn't be watching this. Lots of great programs available besides SkyWatch TV there, like our friends at Prophecy Watchers. More information, skywatchtv.com/Roku. And speaking of Prophecy Watchers, they are handling the live stream for the Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference. The conference itself is sold out, but you can bring 32 presentations from the conference to you in real time. And then all of those presentations will be archived for 6 weeks after the conference so that you can watch them at your convenience. For more information and to sign up, log on to prophecywatchers.com. And of course, your support is what keeps us going during the month of May, which is, of course, the month of Mother's Day. A gift for your mom from SkyWatch TV for your donation of $20 or more. 2 books that Mom will find useful: Survive the Unthinkable, A Woman's Guide to Preparedness, Favorite Family Meals, and a beautiful journal for her to leave a legacy for your children and grandchildren. And then a beautiful mug for Mom for her tea or her coffee. All of that we will send to you for your gift of $20 or more during the month of May. Log on to skywatchtv.com/donate. And of course, if you can help us just while you're clicking around the internet, click like, click share, click the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Here are the addresses. And when I post stuff on the internet, you'll find it here. My email address for your comments, questions, and suggestions, dgilbert@skywatchtv.com. And thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV. Save nearly half off the cover price when you subscribe now to the brand new SkyWatch TV magazine. For a limited time from April 24th through June 24th, 60 days only, a 5-year subscription to SkyWatch TV magazine is just $99. That's more than $75 off the cover price, which is like getting 2 years for free. Exclusive content, articles on prophecy, discovery, and the supernatural from Tom Horn, Chris Putnam, Josh Peck, science updates from Sharon K. Gilbert, geopolitics from yours truly, and guest writers like Pulitzer Prize-nominated journalist Troy Anderson, renowned Bible scholar Dr. Michael Heiser, Pentagon advisor Lieutenant Colonel Bob McGinnis, and more. But there is more. As an early subscriber, you'll be the first to get this new book from Defender Publishing. I predict what 12 global experts believe you'll see by 2025. This is a $20 value and includes best-selling authors like Joel Richardson, Mark Biltz, Carl Gallups, Tom Horn, Paul McGuire, and more. Find out what they think about the coming war between ISIS and the Vatican, the future of the Temple Mount and the Ark of the Covenant, a worldwide manifestation of angels, and the coming age of human hybrids. And we'll also add this DVD, The Best of SkyWatchTV 2015, a $25 value, including our most compelling interviews from last year, including Chuck Missler, Steve Quayle, the discussion of the Georgia Guidestones with Chris Pinto, and more. All of this together worth more than $200, yours now for just $99, but only through June 24th. Subscribe now, SkyWatch TV Magazine. Just call the number on your screen or log on to skywatchtvstore.com.